So here's where, and I want to talk about reflex locomotion here, because the first like two things always like change like right away, especially as people are starting to do it more, like experience it more, you know, their tongue starts watering, their breathing changes. And this is not belly breathing, like, and you don't know it until you see it. It's like, man, that's like in like their belly.
And they don't know anything's changing. So like you're having this, you're giving God high fives in your mind, and they don't think anything's happening, and like they get up, they don't realize what happened, and you're having a little party with yourself, thinking you're.
But and like maybe this is me trying to connect too many dots, but you think about that, and you're talking about the visual system, like we talk about our eyes alternating, and you know, like they expand, they contract, like that's run really, but like our breath is tied into that, and like that, like we cannot forget that. Like our tidal vault, you're gonna exhale fully when you appreciate your peripheral vision. You're gonna start to inhale as you start to focus on something. Like that's your sympathetic, that's your parasympathetic system. Like they're all operating at that point. And if you can't do that well on both sides, can you ever fully exhale? Can you fill different parts of your thorax with breath? Can you get that true like deep pelvic breath? I don't think if you can't shut that down, I don't think you can. Like, I mean, man, I've been doing a lot more with DNS really as I've gotten deeper and deeper into some like resisted breathing, more breath work, and just starting to break down like, hey, is this truly now a like can we support the pelvis and increase your ability to dome tube diaphragms? Have we gone too far that like, are they just so overly stimulated now? Like we're talking about like tongue issue, we're talking about a trachea issue, we're talking about like how many pitchers can you think of that get super anxious and they have a lot of acid reflux? Like that's a big majority of pitchers.
Yeah, that's true.
And you think like what's like, you've got increased dead space of your trachea. That's gonna pull more tone and tension through like your diaphragm, your lungs. That's going to create more tension into your esophagus. That lays right on top of your thoracic spine. So we can do all the thoracic spine like rotation work with one, but if we can't get that part of our system to relax, so how are we going to rotate?
Does that mean then, like when you, let's say you are working with a new patient today, do you start literally with every single person that you're working with respiration? Like, is it that important to you, or depends on the case, or like where do you prioritize it with your assessment?
Depends on the case for sure. Like I'm going to assess it with everybody. It will depend on the person, and like, hey, like what are you here for? Like I have like, you have to feed them what they're there for in the first place.
I want you to rub on me.
Yeah. I think it's important.
I'm here for the ARG.
yeah. I think it's important for everybody, and I think it's like one of the most missed pieces in everything we do. It's like going back to DNS, like that's the first thing that changes.
Right.
The very first thing. So like, why are we not like doing anything with that? And a lot of it, like, you know, like we'll say Wim Hof. Like I appreciate what Wim Hof has done because it's brought attention to the breath. There's a lot of people like breath's kind of a sexier thing right now, but how are we actually training it for performance and to make like quantifiable and subjective change? Like man, we should like, if I can increase how much air I can move in the course of a minute, like hey, that'll change your VO2 max quicker than anything else you're going to train over the next year. If I can relax my diaphragm quicker, like that's going to make me more powerful, like on the field. Like that's the name. Like what did Barry Sanders do better than anybody? Like, yeah, he could stop and start because he can relax so much quicker than everybody else. Like why wouldn't we start with the diaphragm being able to do that?
Right.
And just being able to coordinate things in general, like can we coordinate our breath for a longer amount of time? Like that's going to build our aerobic system bigger. That's going to build like your resting heart rate will drop, but your ability to like utilize and deliver air and oxygen, man, that's like performance at the end of the day. And like thinking about pitching, like what's the first thing you see? You go into a tight game, the first thing you see a guy get on the mound, like it's always a deep breath. Always. But like, man, as soon as, but I know they do in the Czech Republic, but like when you would stimulate these patterns with reflex locomotion, like breath would start to it would normalize. That was like one of the first responses you would start to see. Their tongue, actually, their mouth might start watering. So okay, there's a clue. The tongue's involved in the system. But you would see, like, you'd start seeing their air would essentially drop into their pelvis, and you'd see it 360 degrees around the spine.
So what are they doing to stimulate that? You said reflex.
So it's called reflex locomotion, and there's a doctor worked with kids with CP named Vladimir Vojta, and he had developed this system in the Czech Republic in like the 40s, 50s, 60s, somewhere in that 20-year period, and that's a big piece of the DNS system, as in how they were teaching it 15 years ago. But I think since, I think they've kind of shied away from teaching it that way in the States. The exercise components, they really hammer on right now, but I don't know. I haven't taken one in a while, but I had heard that they aren't, they're like stimulation zones. So they're like neurologically rich areas that will stimulate an entire pattern in a stage of development. So one of the most powerful ones is like 4 months of development. Our legs or our hips will flex to 90 degrees and we'll get sagittal stability of our spine. And when that happens, like, that's when your breathing is like, your diaphragm's fully domed. You're getting that 360 degree. And again, 360 degrees, you got to think it's like, that's 360 degrees. It's not around, it's the whole, the whole thing. So you really do. You start seeing it like deep into the pelvis. It's a different feeling if you ever experience going through that system. And then again, they'll go into some sideline patterns, and they'll start uprighting. But turning over and rolling over is important. What's that?
What does that specifically look like if you're going to like do that as an exercise or a drill?
Yeah. So honestly, like, I've used the sideline stuff a lot, which starts about 5 months of development. We'll go to kind of 5 to 6, 7 months. And it's really then starting to, like, if I'm laying on my side, it'll look like a lot of the PRI exercises look similar. They'll just break down pieces, like DNS will break down some pieces